Hey, good morning, everybody. Peace and power. Thank you for joining me on my break time rambles as usual. Um, Interesting weekend of fights. It was really exciting. We haven't seen a lot of fights like that in a long time, and I was quite pleased. Of course, you had the pay-per-view PBC card featuring the Charlo brothers, which a lot of people didn't think was pay-per-view, but I thought people should support it if they could. I think it was pay-per-view worthy. Personally, some people didn't think so. Um, my thing is, if you're not willing to pay for people taking step ups and unification, then what are you willing to pay for? And that's just my opinion. Uh, Again, thank y'all for coming through. If you're gonna listen to me live, if you're gonna listen to the playback, I appreciate you. You know, if it's possible, please hit me a thumbs up if you appreciate what I have to say. If not, that's cool. I understand. We don't have to agree on everything. Uh, Also, UFC 253 was on. That featured Israel Adesanya versus Paulo Costa, which is the only fight I'm going to talk about. Basically, I didn't really care for the light heavyweight fight. It was what it was. Uh, the Israel, Adesanya fight was interesting because, well, for me and a few other people, because Paulo Costa has been talking a lot of shit, and he got really disrespectful. Almost tipping over to some, racial stuff when, in the lead up to this fight months ago. Yeah, what up? What up, Madam Machine? Peace, brother, peace. And I remember waiting for this fight to happen because of these comments that he made. I'm showing to you right now. He made some comments. He actually deleted the comments, but of course, on the internet, nothing goes away. So I'm gonna share my screen here. So here you go. So this was something he had said a while back. This is like last year, and Paulo Costa calls UFC champ Israel Adesanya a pussy African. He got mad and whatnot, and he called him skinny and again a pussy African. And I remember. So here it is. He's afraid into himself, knows he tries to look good, but everybody's so skinny and fragile as him. Feel afraid. I guess this is in broken English or whatever. To fight against powerful guys, and he called him a pussy African. And he said he wants to kill only one African, that skinny big mouth. No. No, you see, this is why I warn people. And I say, be careful of shit you say on Facebook. Sorry, on social media. Be careful. Because nothing you say goes away. Nothing. Somebody has a screenshot. Somebody has a video. Nothing you say goes away. So here is Paulo Costa calling it, going into the whole racial aspect. And if you understand what's happening in Brazil, African people in Brazil are under assault every day. It might be the only place in the world that might be worse for Black people than North America in terms of violence against them. Straight up violence, right? Paulo Costa, nobody can mistake him for a Black guy, right? So he goes into this whole rant some time ago. He actually deleted some of these tweets. But of course, again, nothing goes away. So Israel Adesanya and him fight on the weekend, and it was a complete and proper wrecking. It was a destruction of Paulo Costa. Paulo Costa looked like somebody who had never fought before. He looked like he froze onto the big stage, and Israel took advantage and beat this man to hell. And I appreciate that beating because of these comments Paulo Costa made. Right? If anybody wants to jump on with me, here's the link. Of course, y'all know I don't stay on long. And I appreciated that beating even more because Paulo Costa got out of place, in my opinion. This is why when Devin Haney made his comments about, I'm not going to lose to a white boy, you can feel however you want to feel, bro. Just understand that nothing goes away on the internet. Nothing goes away on the internet. All right? You're going to have to deal with that at some point. And people going to find it. If you lose, people going to dig up that old tweet, that old video, your old comments, and going to use it back against you. So just understand, whatever you say now, be prepared to deal with that and carry that on your back forever, for as long as your career lasts. You understand? So Israel Adesanya retains his title, beats up Paulo Costa, the skinny African, the pussy African, beats up this big, brolic white Brazilian. Well done, Izzy. Well done, sir. Anywho, onward to my next topic. The other big fight that happened in, basically, in America, you could say, in America, is the Charlo pay-per-views. And the Charlos, Jamel Charlo has become the new unified champion of the world. He has now unified 3 of the major belts in the 154 division by beating Mr. Rosario. I did not see either fight. That fight was not available to me down here. I couldn't buy the pay-per-view, nothing. I really had said before that I would not support pay-per-view anymore, but I think I would have supported this fight, this pay-per-view card. But I want to congratulate Jamel Charlo on his victory. I hope that he can get his people to just send something to Teixeira over at Golden Boy and have Teixeira come and fight him for a 4-belt undisputed and call it that. It makes no sense taking any steps back. Go straight into the Teixeira fight and become, if possible, 4-belt undisputed. Do not take a step back. You're on a good roll right now. Send the offer to Teixeira and make the fight happen. It doesn't make sense fighting anybody else right now. Make the fight happen. Reach out to Golden Boy, get Teixeira in the ring, and see if you can become 4-belt undisputed. All right? Somebody told me on Twitter that what Jamel did is like what Usyk did. I said no. Until he becomes 4-belt undisputed, it's not like Usyk. So Jamel has the ability right now to make history and become 4-belt undisputed in the 154 division. And I support that action by him if they choose to do that. I don't support them taking a step back at all. I don't think Teixeira is on his level, and I think they can make that fight. Teixeira needs a big fight anyway. He ain't doing shit at Golden Boy with that WBO belt. Give him the opportunity to become 4-belt. Reach out to Golden Boy. See what happens. He ain't moving no tickets in over there. He ain't doing no big shows. He ain't doing nothing. What's up, Santos? He ain't doing no big numbers on the zone. So tell Teixeira, most definitely, man, Jamel is doing everything that we said we want to see. I don't have nothing to say about Jamel. Nothing. This man has done everything. He lost, took his rematch, won his belt back, won his belt back, has now become 3-belt undisputed. If you want to count a unified, 3-belt unified. If you want to count the IBO, it's up to you. But I say Jamel needs to simply get his team, stay on this roll, and get Teixeira in the ring and become 4-belt undisputed. Don't take a step back. No breathers. As I just said, I don't think Teixeira is no big threat to Jamel. He's good, but I don't think he's no big threat. 154 don't have no monsters like that. You don't have no monsters like that. So don't take a step back. Go straight, get 4-belt undisputed, and get it over and done with. I hope the people at PBC and whoever manages him understand sense and make the fight happen. That's my opinion. Yeah. Jamel, the big Charlo now. Yeah. Yeah. He the big Charlo though. Yeah, he doesn't want to be great, man. You gotta respect that. He took his shit for crying at the post-fight press conference when he lost to Harrison. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. You give him their props, man. You know what I'm saying? So, again, if anybody wants to get on quickly, I'm not going to be on for long. If anybody wants to get on and ramble with me on my break, I'd appreciate that. If not, I'm going to move on to my discussion about the whole 160 division in boxing right now. Jamal Charlo was the other half of that pay-per-view, and Jamal Charlo beat up Sergey Deverenchenko, right? I told people before I picked the Charlos to do a clean sweep, and I had picked Jamal because a lot of people felt like the Charlo that might lose would be Jamal. I couldn't understand why. I guess people kind of use their bias that they don't like Jamal or like the how he moves against him. But if you look at their styles, which I said before, I had picked Jamal to stop Sergey. I picked him to stop Sergey. And from our reports, Jamal put a beating on Sergey, which I expected him to do. Sergey takes a lot of punishment coming in. That's what he does. Good day, sir.
Yes. What's good, my bro? What's good?
Easy, King.
Yeah, man. Just coming on real quick. Just talk about it a little bit. Just sitting back, like eating my crow dogs, man.
What happened? what happened? Why are you eating crow?
Your boy lost a little money there, and gotta say, when you pick against Charlo, you ought to know better.
Oh man.
And I knew better, but the hater that I am got a little haterade on me.
Which Charlo you pick against?
Eat these crow dogs.
Which Charlo you pick against?
Huh? Shit, I was gonna have them both losing, man. Cause
what?
For real, yeah, man. It was like, it's not like I didn't see them not winning. It was like, man, I got a feeling that they're gonna lose, man. Like this is gonna be like a bad night again. But it didn't, It panned out for it, and they really I want to say, man, Maul, he got the inside game, but he was getting pressed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But he got the job done. You know what I mean? And I had it a split for him. I didn't have it for deep. I had a split.
That's what's important, man. He got it done, right? So
he got it done.
Jamal, I was saying, like, people kind of confuse their dislike for how Jamal moves rather than watching both of their styles. Now, Sergey's whole style is to get in on you, and he'll take the punishment to get in. He takes a lot of punishment. As I said before, I predicted Jamal to stop him because Jamal is heavy-handed, and I knew Jamal was going to be able to tag Sergey coming in. So I did not see, as I'm going to say, I did not see any of the fights. The fights were not available to me down here. But I watch people's play-by-plays. I watch live streams of people with reactions. And they was all saying the same thing, that Jamal was catching him coming in and laying hands on him. And I told people, I know, I mean, that's what Sergey does. He comes in, he takes his punches so he can get in your chest. But Sergey is somebody who's not going to be able to knock out Jamal. I knew that.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Go
ahead.
Because you saw him like outworking him in the inside in the spurts and stuff. But then, at the tail end, Jamal would just be hitting him with some heavy shit, clean shit, man. And I was like, damn, I was surprised Sergey didn't go down with the shots he was getting. He was getting some clean ones in there.
Right.
And it's not to say that Jamal don't got power, you know what I mean? It's just that Sergey was that determined not to,
go down.
He got a chin, man. That dude got a chin, man, because Triple G hit him with some shit.
Yep.
Danny Jacobs hit him with some shit. So,
but Sergey's style of fighting can't be conducive to a long career. Like, how long has he been fighting, man? I mean, geez, he takes a lot of, like, these 3 title fights that he's been in, he's taking a beating in all 3. Yeah.
Yeah, all these guys was way bigger than him too. I mean, Triple G wasn't way bigger, but they was big, tall.
Right.
Got
so now we're gonna look at So now we're going to look at the state of the 160 division, which I think hasn't really moved. The state of the 160 division really hasn't moved. I mean, the fights that Jamal Charlo needs are all elsewhere, right?
Right.
If you believe Canelo, let me share my screen. If anybody wants to get on now, because I'm not gonna be able to share see when y'all up whatnot. So I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna look at the 160 division and see where everything is right now. Right, so here we have the WBC over here. Charlo just beat Sergey. Number 2 and 3, Jaime Munguia. We know Jaime's not gonna fight anybody. You know, they're I don't know what they're doing with Jaime. Liam Williams is Andre's mandatory at some point, and he's fighting somebody else on a BT card later on this year. And Andre is fighting somebody else, right? So they're not fighting each other.
Right. Well, I'm thinking they're gonna wait for whoever the winner of Texera and either Zoo. It's either gonna be Texera and Zoo or Texera and I don't think Castano's in there anymore to fight Texera for. So now they're talking about Zoo and Texera. So the winner
at 154.
At 154 for Mel, yeah.
Yeah, for Mel, yeah. But I'm talking 160. 160.
Oh, 160. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So
check the screen.
let's see. So
you seeing my screen?
Yeah, I see it now.
Let me blow it up. Hold on. Let me get it a bit bigger. Okay. Super middleweight. Go down.
Well, I mean,
right. So they have Canelo with his. They have his. Well, Charlo keeps calling out Canelo, and if you believe Oscar said we already sent Charlo an offer, and Charlo said no. Before that, so anyway, after Liam Williams at number 3, you have number 4 Dramata, who's fighting Triple G for the IBF mandatory. You have Sulecki, who Andre beat, Turiano Johnson. After that, there's really nobody down here you care about. Nobody in the WBC.
Eubanks. What? Eubanks is not even up there.
Eubanks is in WBA. So we're gonna go over to W. So as you see here in the WBC, 2 of these people here, number 2 and number 3, are actually highly ranked in the WBO. Munguia is not going to fight Charlo because for some reason they're not, because Munguia really should be Andre's mandatory if he activated it coming up from 154 as a champ. But they did not activate to fight Andre. Liam Williams was dubbed the WBO mandatory to fight Andre, right? After that, who do you care about here from 4 to 15? Who do you care about here to see him fight in the WBC? Nobody.
Yeah.
Right? So 2 of these people are 2 of these people should be fighting Andre, and the rest you don't care about, right? So we go over now to the WBO, which the champion is Demetrius Andre. Where is it? There you go. So you got Andre, and here you have Munguia at number 1, Liam Williams at number 2. Right? Who under that? Because pretty much the same names are in all these rankings. Do you see anybody other than number 1 or 2, which we know Munguia is not going to fight Andre, and Williams is not fighting Andre next? After that, who do you care about here?
Yeah.
They don't even have pictures.
Yeah, nope. Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
Nobody.
Moving up.
Right? We slide over to WBA.
168.
Okay. So we slide over to WBA for the 160 rankings to see who's there. Because what we're talking about here is what's next for everybody in the 160. Because I contend that nothing has really changed for Jamal or anybody else. Canelo has the WBA 160 belt, which he has stopped defending. Seemingly, he's moved to 168, and he has that belt. I'm not sure why, because he doesn't seem to be coming back down to 160. Anyway, you have Ryota Murata, and you have Eubank at number 1. Murata is the, I guess, regular champion or whatever, and Eubank is number 1. After that, I mean, after that, no one care that you care about to see fight. Same thing in all the divisions. We slide to the IBF. IBF champion, Triple G. And you don't even have names for number 1 and 2 in the IBF. You don't have names. So what I'm really getting at here is that outside of the champions, there's really no fight for Jamal, because I don't think they're going to take a step back now with Jamal. What's up, Tommy? How you doing? Jamal is now a pay-per-view guy now. And they might want to keep building him as a pay-per-view. Are they going to take a step back? Because who can he fight from any of those lists that's not one of the champions on the zone that you can sell on pay-per-view?
That's a rhetorical question.
So he said no to Andre. He said no to Andre. Remember that. He said no to Andre before this. He said no. King UB. Who's that? Is that Unbiased? Oh, what up, Unbiased? What's up?
Yeah, so, but remember, Eubanks Jr. not even ranked, and you know, we just saw. But hey, man, you know they're gonna make that fight, right? They're gonna make that fight. That's all I was saying. Eubanks
they're gonna make the fight with. But wouldn't it be more for Eubank Jr.? Wouldn't it be more? Because in America, if nobody really knows Charlo, they damn sure don't know Eubank Jr. Because Eubank Jr. had like 1.5, maybe a half a fight with Korobov. And that's it, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to have to now build this fight with him and Eubank Jr. unless you move this fight to the UK, which you're not going to do, right? PBC had a deal with ITV, and I don't know what happened with that. That went nowhere fast in the UK. And it's like, if you're going to do Eubank Jr. in the States, is it going to be on pay-per-view? With Charlo, is it going to be on pay-per-view? Because you're selling Charlo as a pay-per-view star now. Can Charlo take after you get to pay-per-view? Can you? I mean, would it look good taking a step back into free TV? I'm saying that's just me, Santos. What do you have to say? Anything?
And I think you know, it's that thing where they say, you know, well, we want to see the best fight the best, and this, that, and the third, and people are saying, yeah, well, you know, forget mandatories and this, that, but when you have a list like that, right, in those rankings, those belts that you hold, and none of those names or the names that you've been calling out really like that, or names that obviously people want to see you fight, but the fight's not happening for one reason or the other, whether it be some monetary value or, you know, this side of the street BS business. But you know, you look at this list just now, you just ask yourself, what do these belts even matter? Do these rankings even matter, right? With those rankings like that, and you know, not even having pictures to these names.
Right.
Now, granted, you know, I've seen some of these fighters, right? But most of the boxing casual public has not. So,
right,
you gotta ask yourself, is this pay-per-view worthy? Even though you're trying to sell your unified champion as, or not even unified, right? Yeah, your champion as a pay-per-view star, when really it's going to take a lot more on that card for it just to be Charlo and a Eubanks, or
right,
you know, even a Boo Boo. It has to be a stacked card, right? You just can't say, "Hey, this is pay-per-view star." Not, no, it doesn't work like that. You know, we'll see what happens with these numbers, whatever. And mind you, based on what comes back is whether or not you will see another pay-per-view fight, right? The next one will probably have to be, you know, a reduced price pay-per-view if these numbers come back how some folk are saying that it's gonna be bad or this and the third. I don't know.
Right.
I just
But
bring that up because that shit makes up what's gonna happen, right? The what? Who's gonna fight who?
right. But then
That's what it
in the
is.
WBA, Eubank and Murata. I think Eubank would do well to push for a fight with Murata because then at least he would have a stronger claim to tell Canelo either fight me or abdicate the belt so I can be elevated to full champion, right? I think a
Yeah, that
Eubank
would be a good
Andrade
fight.
fight. I think a Eubank Andrade fight would do better than a Eubank Charlo fight. Why I say that is because at least Eubank has his base in the UK, and Andrade's promoter is primarily a UK promoter. So they can do more in the UK side of things, as well as doing what they were. I don't think Eubank Andrade and does much less than Eubank Charlo in America, because let's face it, nobody knows Eubank Jr. in America, and they barely know Charlo, just like how they barely know Andre. So therefore, I think, in all things being considered, Eubank is known in the UK. He's not no big star in the UK, but he's known in the UK. And Eddie Hearn promotes primarily in the UK, right? So
Yeah.
at least the UK buys, if it's because it's going to be also streamed in the UK on Sky, and in America on the Zone, at least the two of them together would do some numbers, right? That's my opinion. So a Eubank Andrade fight might do better than a Eubank Charlo fight overall, right? But if you do a Eubank Charlo fight in America primarily, I just don't see I don't see that doing well because PBC aborted their their UK expansion. It looked like they gave up on that. So that's just my opinion on that, right? The 160 division, nobody cares outside of the champions. The people underneath there, nobody really it's not going to do no great numbers, right? Other than outside of the hardcore boxing fans. Like, can Charlo challenge? I mean, should Charlo be challenging Murata for his regular belt in the WBA? Why hasn't Murata pushed for a fight with Canelo for the full belt? Why isn't he pressing for that? Right? You got Triple G, who know, because it's like none of these guys are interested in Triple G no more. Canelo has said for a long time, he's not fighting Triple G again. He said that in the early days of the Zone, which is why, it was weird how Triple G and all these people were so sure that Canelo's going to fight Triple G again, because he was like, I'm not fighting you again. Anyway, Andrade was calling out Triple G, and Triple G was not interested in Andrade. This goes as far back as the Steve Rolls fight, when he was asked about Andrade, and he said, I'm not interested. Not interested. His coach, Brian Banks, whatever his name is, said he told Triple G to fight Andrade and not Sergey. Triple G said no. Andrade has come up, which I disagree with, and said he's not so much as interested anymore in Triple G because, I guess how he looked against Sergey is not a bigger fight. But that's ridiculous to me. Charlo is not calling out Triple G no more. He's calling out Canelo only. Nobody seems to be interested in Triple G at all anymore. It's like it's lost the luster or something, right?
And I think, yeah.
Nobody's interested in him anymore. So outside of that, what happens now for Jamal Charlo? Because all his fights are still elsewhere. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I think it's a sad kind of state, right, that we in, and I think the best option would be currently for Charlo is maybe go up to 168. I mean, just there was a fight there with Danny Jacobs that was supposed to, there's a story there.
But that
It'd be a
fight
good
is still
fight,
elsewhere.
and it's still elsewhere, right? But I think at the current state, there has to be some sort of compromise there to where they can make this fight happen. Because yeah, Charlo and Eubanks or Eubanks and Andre over in Britain, you're saying maybe would kind of make some numbers, but you remember
No.
Eubanks was never really that big
No, it's not. He's
in
not.
Brit over there anyway, the other side. So,
No, he's not. No.
but I think it would do fairly decent numbers out there compared to out here because there's more diehard boxing enthusiasts out there. So yeah, it's gonna do some numbers, but Charlo right now, man, the way that those rankings looking, if it is not Andre or him trying to move up to 168, because Canelo's not coming back down to 160. It's looking pretty obvious that he's not. So they're gonna have to meet up at 168.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I see. In my opinion, I think that's what's gonna have to happen.
right. I mean, I look at Charlo and he got his big win against Sergey. The problem is after that, as you said. What now? Because if it's Eubank Jr. in America, does that fight do more? Well, we haven't seen the numbers from this pay-per-view yet. But would that fight do more than Charlo versus Sergey? Do you keep packaging the Charlos together? I mean, are you going to put Jermal versus Chris Eubank Jr. on a standalone pay-per-view? He's his own main event. I agree with Tommy Temple. Triple G gonna have to hang these up, man. Because
yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think he just basically, kind of dragged out this Canelo thing where he just kind of hedged his whole career on a third Canelo fight, and it's like, man, please.
Yeah, he did. I'm glad Tommy brought that up. I think he does need to hang him up, but again, I think he needs one more fight, and it's not going to be a Canelo with 160. He's just going to have to go over to Japan and cash out. He's going to go to Japan and fight Murata, man. Whoever this other kid, Murata is, maybe knock him out and then go cash out and fight Murata, and Murata's going to beat his ass, and out in Japan is going to make a lot of money, and it's give him 40, because really, give him 40 is very generous right now at this stage for Triple G. And if Murata could do that, make the fight happen, Murata's going to bring in the people and the money mostly. But people are going to see that. But really, let's be honest, people are there to see Murata over there. And it's going to be in Japan. It's going to have to be in Japan, because that's where he can cash out, get the most money. It could be his, farewell fight, because that's really, it's not going to happen again with Triple G. It's not. I mean, with Canelo, Triple G and Canelo.
So it's like for me, I'm saying, like, if you're trying to build these people as pay-per-view stars, the pay-per-view model for boxing is not going to be great. It's not going to be profitable right now because of this whole pandemic. You don't know this, you don't know that. And if you're trying to build somebody in this climate as a pay-per-view star where you are forcing people to pay to see the fighter, right? I mean, from 2020 into 2021, you don't know what's going to happen in America. You don't know what's going to happen. So you don't know if stuff going to go back to normal, if it's going to stay the same, if they're going to be another lockdown again. You don't know what it is. And boxing was already in a sort of a shabby state. With boxing, with over in America. So now, adding to this, can you build somebody as a pay-per-view star in this climate in America that already had this sort of a wishy-washy relationship with boxing, right? Shizbiz says Charlo getting more credit than Jacob for being Sergey, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Are you telling me how? I mean, Sergey, Danny Jacobs beat you could say a fresher Sergey. A fresher Sergey who didn't go through the war with Triple G and who, what do you mean? So that's crazy to me. But that's the 160 division, in my opinion, is pretty much static still. He beat Sergey, great. But then there's where do you go from here? Where do you go? People are calling him the #1 middleweight in the world. As long as Canelo Alvarez has a middleweight belt, he's the number 1 middleweight in the world. As long as he has that belt, he's the number 1. Okay? Let's not jump the gun and talk all this shit about Charlo. I see people calling Charlo the best middleweight in the world. You see, people are prisoners of the moment. As long as Canelo Alvarez has a middleweight belt, he's the number 1. That's the truth. He has the best resume. You can talk about what he's doing at 168 and be upset with that. But at 160, what he did at 160 is better than what anybody else did. So, people are jumping the gun to me. I think if he's not going to come back to 160, he needs to abdicate the belt personally. He needs to don't do that. Don't hold the belt hostage. If you're not coming back, let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
right. Definitely.
The 160 division, nobody cares outside of the champions. Nobody cares. Triple G needs to go and fight, in my opinion, fight Andre, as you said, go cash out in Japan then. Canelo has said he's not fighting you, and Canelo is now in dispute with Golden Boy and DAZN. You don't know when he's going to come back. Where does that leave you? What are you going to do? Yeah. You can't go fight Charlo because you're signed to DAZN for whatever deal. Yeah. Right? Charlo, Eubank Jr. in America pay-per-view, how much is that going to do? Is that a pay-per-view fight, or are you going to put it on free TV? If a pay-per-view fighter who you're building takes fights on free TV after, does that make him, is that a step back? I don't know.
I think Eubanks will have to come in there with a belt himself, and then it could be a pay-per-view fight. At least a belt. But again, from where? IBO, baby. Eubank, get that IBO at 160. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Go get it.
Anyway, man, I didn't have much else. I didn't have much else to say. That's right.
But yeah, that's it, man. Other than that, man, I can't call it.
I'm telling you, I'm telling everybody, go into the 160 rankings now. Look at the 160 rankings and tell me, outside of the champions, who do you care about in those rankings? Who do you really, outside of the champions, who you care about? Nobody. Right? There ain't much fights you can make outside of that people are going to care about. That's what it is. All right? Anyway, I don't have nothing else to add, man. Anything else for you, Santos?
Hey, man, just keep the faith, y'all, man. Let's keep advocating for these fights to happen. Let's keep pushing these guys for these fights to happen within 6 months. Listen, this crazy shit that's going on. Fuck it. Just get the fights going. I don't care if you fight in a fucking bubble, somebody's backyard. Just fucking get it done, man. You know what I mean? Just get the shit done. Get these fights happening. Get some undisputed and unifications going on. All right, and defend and defenses too, credible defenses with credible mandatories.
That's right.
Okay.
Anywho,
that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Santos, for joining me. I want to thank y'all in the chat for giving me a minute of y'all time on my break time. Peace, bro. On my break time rambles. Again, I say 154 Charlo, reach out to Patrick Teixeira and get the undisputed fight. Don't take no steps back. Don't go fight no other weird person. Just send the offer for the undisputed fight right now. Teixeira ain't doing nothing at Golden Boy right now. And he ain't moving no numbers at DAZN. So get that done. In my opinion, it can be done. All right? Y'all have a nice day. Peace out.